All right, guys, so today, depending on if you're in geometry or if you're in Algebra 1, Year 2, depends on what section this is for you. Geometry, this is section 4.4. Algebra 1, Year 2, this is section 4.3. Okay? All right, so we are covering writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay? All right, so first thing is that we're going to discuss is parallel lines. Okay? Hopefully you recall from previous years that parallel lines have the same slope. So in order for two lines to be parallel, that means they never intersect, they never touch each other. They would have to have the same slope. Okay? So for instance, number 1 says determine which of the lines are parallel. In order to determine if two lines are parallel, you need to find the slope of that line. Okay, so I need to find the slope of each of these lines. So first I'm going to do the slope of line A. And if you recall, to find slope, we use the letter M. Okay, and that's equal to the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, all right, so first let's look at line A. And that's this line here. So I'm looking at line A. Line A goes through the two ordered pairs, negative 4, 3, and 1, 2. Okay. All right, so first thing you need to do is label your x1, y1, x2, y2. It doesn't matter which point you put first, but you got to keep your 1s and your 2s together. So this is going to be x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. Okay. All right, so if I plug that into my formula, my y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, I get 2 minus 3 over 1 minus negative 4. Okay, so 2 minus 3 is negative 1, and 1 minus negative 4 would be positive 5. So the slope of line A is negative 1 over 5. And you want to make sure you reduce, and negative 1/5 is reduced. All right, let's look at line B. Line B is this line here. And line B goes through the ordered pairs, negative 3, 0, and 1, negative 1. Okay. All right, so label your x1, y1, and your x2, y2. And then plug it into the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be negative 1 minus 0 over 1 minus negative 3. Okay. All right, negative 1 minus 0 is negative 1, and 1 minus negative 3 is 1 plus 3, which is 4. So negative 1/4. Okay. All right, and then we're going to do line C. That's this line right here. Line C goes through the ordered pair negative 3, negative 4, and 2, negative 5. Okay. All right, so label your x1, y1, and x2, y2. And then plug them into the formula. Negative 5 minus negative 4 over 2 minus negative 3. Negative 5 minus negative 4 would be negative 5 plus 4, which is negative 1. And 2 minus negative 3 would be 2 plus 3, which is 5. Okay. All right, so then in order to determine if they're parallel or not, you need to look and see which ones have the same slope. The same slope means the same number. Okay, so we got negative 1/5, negative 1/4, and negative 1/5. Obviously, you can see that these two are the same, so those two lines are parallel. So that would be line A and line C. So we would say that line A is parallel to line C. Okay? And then you can use that symbol to represent parallel. Okay? So for parallel lines, we use this symbol. All right, so now that you know how to find the slope of a line and how to determine if two lines are parallel, now moving on to the next part. It says, write an equation of the line that passes through 5, negative 4 and is parallel to the line y equals 2x plus 3. Okay? Well, this right here says it's parallel, and parallel means they have the same slope. Okay? Well, if you recall, if it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, m is your slope. Okay? So look at this equation here, y equals 2x plus 3. If it's parallel to this line, that means it's going to have the same slope as this line. So what you want to do is find the slope of this line. Well, it's in y equals mx plus b, so your slope would be 2. Okay? So your slope is 2. Because they have the same slope because they're parallel. All right, and then what you want to do, in Algebra 1 Year 2, we just finished talking about point slope form. Geometry, it might be a little bit since you've talked about point slope form. Okay, but point slope form of an equation is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. M is your slope, and x1 and y1 are a point on the line. So in this situation, m would be 2. Here's my x1, y1. x1 is 5, y1 is negative 4. Okay. So I would plug those into the formula. Okay. So that way you know where each thing is getting substituted into the formula. Okay, so I start with y minus, and then for y1, I'm going to plug in negative 4 equals m, our m is 2, times x minus x1, which was 5. Okay. All right, so now you're going to simplify this. Y minus negative 4 would be y plus 4. And you have to distribute the 2. So 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And the last step is to subtract this number over to the constant on the other side. So you get y equals 2x minus 14. And that is it. Okay. All right, let's try another example. Number 3. Notice I left the ordered pair out. It says, write an equation of the line that passes through the point negative 4, 2, and is parallel to the line y equals 1/4 x plus 1. So first you want to pick out your slope. Notice it says parallel, so it's the same slope, and our slope here is 1/4. So I know my m is going to be 1/4. Okay? And I know my x1, y1 is negative 4, 2. Okay? All right, so let's start with point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? And now we just substitute in. Y minus, for y1, we're going to plug in 2, equals, for our slope, we're going to substitute in 1/4, times x minus x1, which is negative 4. Okay. All right, and now we solve. So first thing I notice is that here is a double negative, so that would change to plus. So I would have y minus 2 equals 1/4 times x plus 4. All right, and then we distribute the 1/4. So y minus 2 equals 1/4 x plus 1. 1/4 times 4 is 1. And the last thing I do is add 2. Y equals 1/4 x plus 3. And that's how you write an equation of a parallel line. All right, perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are two lines that meet at a 90-degree angle. Okay. So they meet at a 90-degree angle. They meet at a right angle. And their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Okay. Opposite means they have a different sign, means one's positive and one's negative, and reciprocal means that they're flipped. For instance, if one is 2/3, the other one's 3/2. If one of them is 1/4, then the perpendicular line would be 4/1 or just 4. Okay, so some examples of opposite reciprocals would be 1/2 and -2. So those are opposite reciprocals. Another example would be 3/4 and -4/3. Okay, so these are examples of opposite reciprocals. All right, number 4 says determine which of the lines, if any, are parallel or perpendicular. So parallel have the same slope, and perpendicular, their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Okay. Line A has the equation y equals 4x plus 2. Line B is x plus 4y equals 3. And C is -8y minus 2x equals 16. Okay. Now, usually, if it was already in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, it would be easy to tell. For instance, line A, your slope is 4. However, with line B, it's not in slope-intercept form, so you got to put it in slope-intercept form first. So first we subtract the x over. We get 4y equals -x plus 3. Divide everything by 4. And this is a 1 right there in front of that x. That's -1 divided by 4. So that's y equals -1/4 x plus 3/4. Okay. Now that it's in slope-intercept form, now you can see that your slope is -1/4. Okay. And then line C. First, we have to add 2x over to the other side. I get -8y equals 2x plus 16. Divide everything by -8. Okay. These cancel, and I get y equals 2 divided by -8 is -1/4 x minus 2. So right away I can tell that my slope is -1/4. Now, to see if any lines are parallel, you're going to look for the lines that have the same slope. So look and see if any of these are the same. And I can see that these two lines have the same slope, therefore they are parallel. So I would say that line B is parallel to line C. Okay. Then you want to check it, and those are the only two that have the same slope. So those are the only two parallel lines. Now you want to see if any of the slopes are opposite reciprocals. Well, to see that, you want them all to be a fraction. This one's a fraction, this one's a fraction, this one's not a fraction. So you want to make this a fraction. To make a whole number a fraction, you just do 4/1. Okay? Now compare these and see if they're opposite reciprocals. An opposite reciprocal, they got to be different signs. One's positive, one's negative. And then they have to be flipped. 4/1, 1/4, and they're flipped. So that means they're perpendicular. So lines A and B are perpendicular. So I would say that line A is perpendicular to line B. And notice instead of using the word perpendicular, I use the symbol. It's a capital T, but upside down. And it's not supposed to be slanted like mine was. Okay, so A is perpendicular to B. Now look at C. This one's 4/1 and this one's -1/4. They're different signs and they're the same, they're reciprocals, 4/1, 1/4. So these are also perpendicular. So we would say that A is perpendicular to C. Okay. So B and C are parallel, A and B are perpendicular, and A and C are perpendicular. And we already know that B and C is not perpendicular because you can't be both perpendicular and parallel. All right, turn it over to the back. Number 5 says, write an equation of the line that passes through -3,1 and is perpendicular to the line y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Notice it says it's perpendicular. So now instead of having the same slope, it's going to have an opposite reciprocal. Okay, so look at your slope here. Your slope here is 1/2. If they would have said parallel, we would have left it as 1/2, but they did not. They said perpendicular. So what we have to do is we have to take this slope and change the sign. So right now it's positive, so my slope I know is going to be negative. And instead of 1/2, it's going to be 2/1, or just 2. So my slope has to be -2. And then this is our x1, y1. Okay. Now we're going to do the exact same thing we did on the front page. So we start with our formula, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus y1 is 1 equals m. Our m is -2 because it has to be perpendicular. And then x minus x1, which is -3. Okay, and now I just need to start simplifying. I notice that there's a double negative, so I change that to x plus 3. And then I distribute my -2. So y minus 1 equals -2x minus 6. And then we add 1 over to the other side. Y equals -2x minus 5. All right, number 6. Write an equation of the line that passes through the point -3, 5 and is perpendicular to the line y equals -3x minus 1. Okay. All right, so again, this is going to be our x1, y1, and we need to figure out our slope. Notice it says perpendicular. So my slope is going to be the opposite reciprocal. Okay, so look at this slope here. This slope is -3. Okay, -3 is the slope. I need the opposite reciprocal. Okay, opposite, this one's negative, so the opposite would be positive. So my number's positive, and this number's 3, and so the reciprocal, that's 3/1, the reciprocal would be 1/3. So my slope would have to be positive 1/3. Now, start with the formula, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. So y minus y1 is 5 equals m is 1/3 times x minus x1, which is -3. And we start simplifying. Y minus 5 equals 1/3 times x plus 3. We distribute the 1/3. Y minus 5 equals 1/3 x plus 1. 1/3 times 3 is 1. And we add 5. Y equals 1/3 x plus 6. And there you go. All right, so we've done parallel lines and we have done perpendicular lines. Okay, let's do a word problem. It says, the position of a helicopter search and rescue crew is shown in the graph. The shortest flight path to the shoreline is one that is perpendicular to the shoreline. Write an equation that represents this path. Okay, all right, so in order to write your equation, you need to know the slope and you need to know the point on a line. Okay, see how they already have this line ready for us, ready to go, and it's already perpendicular to this line. So to do that, we need to figure out the slope of this line. Okay, now to figure out the slope of the line, they already have one ordered pair shown for us. We need to pick out another ordered pair, and I would pick one that's right at where two integers intersect. So it looks like this point here, and that has the ordered pair 12, 1. 12, 1. So I have the ordered pairs 12, 1 and 14, 4. Okay. All right, so first let's do our slope, x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so that would be 4 minus 1 over 14 minus 12. 4 minus 1 is 3, and 14 minus 12 is 2. And if we do our rise over run to check us from this point to that point, make sure that you're counting correctly. They're counting by ones, and this way they're counting by ones. So my rise is 1, 2, 3, and my run is 2. Okay, so it's correct, 3 over 2. And Mr. Slope Guy says that that's a positive slope. All right, and then to write your equation, you just need to pick one of these points and then your slope. Okay, so start with the formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. So this is going to be y minus y1 is 4 equals m, which is 3 over 2, times x minus 14. Now, if it confused you with me having these labels x2, y2, you could have substituted in 12 and 1 as your x1 and y1 here. Either one you do, you're going to come out with the same answer. So you could have done y minus 1 equals 3 over 2 times x minus 12. That's okay also. So if you wrote that down, or if this one here confused you because of those being labeled as 2, I would go with this one. All right, so first thing I need to do is distribute. Y minus 4 equals 3 over 2x minus 14 divided by 2 is 7 times 3 is 21. And then add 4. Y equals 3 over 2x minus negative 21 plus 4 would be 17. So y equals 3 over 2x minus 17. And I will pull it up. All right, and there you go. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you, and y'all have a good day.